Hey YouTube viewers, Chris Mack coming at you with WildCats number 4. And I'm so happy that I was finally able to get my hands on another Wildcat comic, because I've looked for, trying to find the first 10 issues at least, because that's what these Image comics, they're older, I know they're not worth a lot, but at least like the early issues were always so much fun. And that's what I miss about the 90s, is even though comics maybe had the implosion during that time, these were fun. And then, like, Marvel was fun, DC was fun, Image was fun. And first and foremost, before we jump into this review, I do want to give a shout out to Tanya. They had this comic in one of their online auctions, and I was like, oh, thank you, I'll take it. So thank you so much, Tanya. We're both part of a group called Sacred Collectibles on Facebook. So make sure to check it out, because a lot of the stuff that they sell in there is awesome. So with that said, let's jump into this book. And the print date on this was, I believe, March 1995? March 1993. Haha, I had to correct myself. And before we even jump into this gorgeous perspective shot of Hellspawn, let's talk about who made this book. So this is Brandon Choi and Jim Lee, co-creators and story. Jim Lee pencils. Scott Williams ink. Joe Choito doing the colors. Mike Hessler doing the letters. Deborah Marvin was the editor. And here's everyone else that is part of the book. And now I'm still trying to find issues 2 and 3. So if you guys know where I can get a copy of those, let me know down in the comments below, because I have no idea what exactly is going on. But still, just to see them all like, victory is mine, reunification begins now. Just great artwork, man. Just, yeah, I miss seeing pages like that where they kind of box it off like this, and you kind of see the character or whatever's happening sort of pour out into the gutters. Just good stuff overall. Now, here's where I get a little confused, because this is the WildCats. And as we know from the last review, which if you haven't seen the WildCats number 1, go check out that review. But in at this point, 3 issues time, the WildCats are down. Here's Pike and Hellspawn. And then here's Liefield's Youngbloods. So it's cool to see them teamed up with the WildCats. And then again, too, in issue 1, everyone was scrabbling to recruit Voodoo. So it's kind of cool to see her go from dancer to strong warrior right here. And then there's Maul. Love Maul. So that was kind of cool to see her develop so quickly. What kind of makes me sad is if you haven't seen the cartoon's great, don't get me wrong, I find it very entertaining, but she's a little bit more unsure of herself in the field, which, I guess they had to kind of do that for character development. But yeah, if you haven't seen that show, check it out. Tubi, free streaming app. You don't have to have an account or anything like that. You just select Tubi and you can search for stuff, and they have the WildCats cartoon, along with G1, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. So some awesome stuff there. But anyway, I just love seeing how the Image universe always crossed over like this. So very cool stuff there. And so they're trying to stop Hellspawn. And Voodoo even says that she can't depossess this person, because that's her power. And just seeing how Hellspawn is just this large and in charge cat here. He's just like, you can't stop me. And right here, just one of these great evil villain monologues. He goes, your pitiful weapons are useless against me. The technology in this facility enables me to wield the power of the orb itself. And you can see that he's just kind of unstoppable right now. He just goes through both teams, just boom. And what I love is just how you're getting the dialogue and the story. And the stakes are high because they don't want Hellspawn to bring the Daemonites to Earth. And you kind of get a quick synopsis of what he's doing, which, I always appreciate when they can do that in the dialogue without too much. So, for example, he's sitting here and he goes, our plan has finally reached fruition. And you see box, box, box. As we're like, I hate to say it, but a lot of modern comics, it'd be like box, dialogue box. Here it's quick, it's neat, and the artwork helps drive what he's talking about. And then we see Grifter and Marlowe and Void. Grifter's like, you got to pour us out of here. And she's like, I'm still too week. And I just always love how Marlo's always like, there's still a chance, people. And I could hear their voices in my head from watching the cartoon so much with the little ones. So it's kind of ingrained in my head now. And then we cut over and look at Spartan. I have no idea what's happened to him at this point, but he is in some rough shape. And he's kind of like the Hail Mary for, what's his name? Marlo. And I like how, what's it called? How the writers here explain what he's doing. He reaches for something and he goes, although he stands at death's threshold once more, he carries on the tradition of his namesake. Spartan fights on for victory at any cost. That's some good writing right there, man. And so they need to distract Hellspawn, so they unleash Warblade. And this kind of looks like an old X-Men Sabretooth cover, the way he's leaping. But Warblade's really quickly become one of my favorite WildCats other than Zealot. Because she reminds me of like Storm, if Storm wielded weapons. Kind of like when she beat the crud out of Calypso. Good stuff there if you have not read that. I don't remember what issue it is off the top of my head, but it was during the Claremont era. And anyway, just great artwork again. I know I'm saying great artwork, but man, I don't see a lot of this in modern books anymore. I mean, I've seen some that have absolutely stunning pages, but back in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, this is the type of quality artwork you got every single issue. And I miss seeing that where you just flip over, because back in the day, you know, you're a kid, you're broke, you're kind of picky on what comics you're going to ask your mom or dad to get you. But, you'd open X-Force, you'd open X-Factor, you'd open Spawn, you'd open Youngbloods, you'd open WildCats, and ooh, yeah, beautiful artwork each time. McFarlane on Spider-Man 2, good stuff. And look at that, just slunk. I mean, you just dynamic paneling. Look at, how, okay, you kind of get this straight on this way, but then it has that Dutch angle there, and you see him just slash right across Hellspawn's face. That is... that sucks you in and makes you want more. Now, Hellspawn tries to retreat. And check this out. He goes, "Damnation! Will I never be free of you meddling Kherubim?" And just for those that aren't versed in the Wildcat universe, the Kherubim are like a warrior race. And people like Grifter, Maul, Zealot, Void, even Marlo, surprisingly, are descendants of the Kherubim, or those I think that kind of survive, like Spartan, I think. I may be getting the cartoon mixed up. But if I'm wrong, make fun of me down in the comments. But it's just kind of, can you get any more Scooby-Doo? I'm waiting for him to say, because Void, in the cartoon, she's a living computer. I can't remember if that's the case in the book. But I'm waiting for him to be like, "Will I never be free of you meddling Kherubim and your supercomputer too?" And, she'd be like, "Ruh-roh." And then, just when you think either Hellspawn's won or Hellspawn's been destroyed, we are thrown into this guy named Imp, which I think this guy's used as a villain in the cartoon as part of the Damonites. But you just kind of like, you just don't get a minute to rest. But while all this action's going on, like this Michael Bay level action, you actually care about the story. There are stakes going on. So it's just not like action for action's sake. This is like good stuff, because you're just like, uh-oh, this guy has the orb now. What's he going to do with it? And I love how Marlo's, again, is just resourceful. And him and Imp apparently has something going on. I don't know if that was explained in issues 2 through 3, but you can see Marlo just doesn't care. And I love how after he shoots Imp, he goes, "Whoever said I was a hero?" Good line there. And now here's another thing I did not know. Void, her name's Adriana. So I guess she was actually a human at some point. So that was kind of neat to see that little treasure right there. And then we end on a ticking clock, which you think would be kind of cliche, but it helps. Because Void's, again, too weak from Imp's attack to do anything. And so you think all is lost. Because you think, here's Spartan. What's happened to Spartan? What happens to the WildCats? Marlowe talks about how if you say that I am a Kherubim descendant, then let's utilize it. So, what's happening there? I don't know. I guess you guys will have to read the book. And then what kind of disappoints me is there's this page here, because I want to know who this guy is. I have no idea. But it ends on, everything gets kind of wrapped up in a sense. With a little bit of heartbreak. I don't want to spoil it. But it's like, man, I wish I could have read issues 2 through 3 to see how this panel ties into everything. That would have been great. Because this wraps up the first 4 issues of the WildCats. And I gotta say, guys, even though I'm not 100% sure on what's going on, there's still enough information in terms of the main plot to bring the reader in and be like, hey, this is interesting, because you find out this, Hellspawn, Pike, WildCats, ticking time bomb, orb. All the information is there. You don't have to feel like you have to go back and backtrack. As for me, I'm a completist. I like to not have any gaps in my collection. It drives me nuts. But anyway, this was a great issue, y'all. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen in this book, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if they have this either in the dollar bins or in the back bins, or if they can order it for you. If not, then come over to Sacred and check out the auctions there, y'all, because it's really cool. I appreciate Tanya finding this for me. It was still sealed in the plastic, which, like one of those factory sealed ones that they used to do back in the 90s. Which is like, I want to read it, but it's sealed, but, hashtag yellow, I'm going to rip that thing open. And then what was cool, what fell out of it, was a WildCats trading card. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Man, do I miss comic book trading cards. These things were the bee's knees in the 90s. I remember we'd always trade those Top Flare X-Men cards. Oh, man, those things were the bomb. And I'm showing my age, don't make fun of me. But these were through Tops. And anytime I can get another comic book trading card, even though it's, old and vintage, which is cool, it has, a little bit of a bang on it, so I'll just say that that's the poutine, as they always call it on Pawn Stars. But anyway, if you guys have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a minute to hit like, share, and subscribe. It helps the club channel grow more than you could possibly know, and just helps us out and lets us know that you enjoy our content. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Warblade bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love to hear your thoughts and have your feedback, and to have a dialogue with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.